You guys are watching NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey, and the latest Mel Kiper mock draft has dropped. He called it Mock Draft 1.0 because it's the first one in the offseason, but he did them in the regular season, so, splitting hairs, I guess, there. The office here at Chat Sports wanted to see my reaction to it. Well, you'll see why at around starting pick number 10. But at number 1, Jalen Carter out of Georgia. I don't have many complaints here, so we'll kind of gloss over the obvious picks because, you don't need me to tell you Jalen Carter's good and the Bears need defensive help. We've done that a lot because we do a mock draft here every single week, whether it's our own or we react to someone like Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, Daniel Jeremiah, whatever. We've got you covered. When things change, we'll make them fresh and new each time because that's the whole point of a mock draft. Explore scenarios. Hit that sub button so you guys make sure you don't miss out. Number 2, C.J. Stroud. I think depending on who you talk to across the NFL, you're going to have different teams have different quarterback ones. I think Stroud helped himself significantly against the Georgia Bulldogs. He has a much more prototypical frame at quarterback. Only evidence we have of a quarterback pick for Nick Caserio was Davis Mills. Stroud fits that mold better than very tiny Bryce Young does. So then Will Anderson, kind of an obvious number 3 here. They get the number 1 or number 2 best defensive player. Boom, that just makes sense. Bryce Young then goes number 4, which I think Indy would be absolutely in love with. He goes number 4. And Will Levis goes number 5. Now, I'll make note again. Young is tiny. That scares some teams off. Mel's got Levis as the number 1 quarterback. And I just don't get it. He's got the size. He's got the traits. But he wasn't good this year. I just don't see what I guess Mel and others see. There's a concern over, he says, a learning curve in a pro-style offense, but or he's ahead of the curve. That's fair. And he's got some high-end throws, but decision-making, accuracy really come and go. And my concern is that teams are going to fall in love with the Josh Allen outlier and forget it's an outlier and end up getting themselves hurt and getting themselves fired. He is a fire or extension pick. Whoever takes him is out of a job or he's there for the next 10 years because he found his franchise guy. That's a gamble for a lot of people. Because Mel's a plugged-in insider, and that's how he gets a lot of his rankings and stuff, make no mistake, and that's not a bad thing, by the way, he might go number 1. I wouldn't rule that out, even though I would not do it. Who will be number 1, the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft? Get those predictions in for me in the comments section. Who will be the top pick in this year's draft? It's the pinned comment on today's video. So if an ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there. Let me know. Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech, one of Roley's boys. I like him a lot. There are still some more traits than production, although he had good production too, which is kind of a lot of the guys are. A lot more gamble risk in this class from my early studying here. I like Wilson a lot. I think you go Wilson, Hutchinson, and then you kick Wilson inside with James Houston on the outside on passing downs. That's good. Love this pick at 7. Peter Skoronski. I think he's the best lineman. Might have to play guard, though, by the way. Plug one in and build for whoever your quarterback is alongside him. Myles Murphy, no real complaints here either. I've mocked that myself before. Pairing with Arnold Ebiketie, much better fit up front. And Anthony Richardson, number 9. I think I would rather gamble on Richardson than Will Levis, but it's the Josh Allen talk all over again. The highs are awesome. He's got a cannon for an arm. The raw talent, the frame, the speed, all of it's like, oh boy, that's really. The problem with guys like Richardson and Levis is that NFL front offices and coaches they're the girl who keeps dating the bad boy, going, I can fix him. Which sometimes you can, and other times, well, he cheats on you again, and now you're fired. And you got a quarterback who completed 54% of his passes in a kind of quarterback-friendly run-first offense, and I actually don't think he reads the read option that well. So it's terrifyingly exciting for Richardson. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes top 10, but you might have to sit him for an entire year and then hope you end up getting Cam Newton somehow. So it's 4 quarterbacks in the top 10 for Mel Kiper of this mock draft. How many QBs end up going in the top 10 when it's all said and done? Get those predictions in for me right now in the comments section. How many QBs go in that top 10? Here's our first stunner. Kalijah Cansey. I think you can make a decent enough argument that he's the best defensive tackle player in this class. I think you'll probably have most people saying Brian Brzee upside-wise is better. Cansey is very productive, a lot of good stuff this year at Pitt. He's 6 foot, probably more like 275. Really tiny. I don't know if he can hold up as a full-time defensive tackle because I know he went to Pitt and he's tiny, but there are more Jalen Twymans than there are Aaron Donalds in the NFL with that size outlier. Round 1, late round 1, I can get on board with that one. I can. But top 10? It's a different version of Tyson Alualu going top 10 to the Jags a couple years ago. Like I wouldn't like it at all. Now, today's NFL draft coverage is sponsored by Athletic Greens. What I do like is Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. Get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted better gut health and supplement that actually tasted great. I take AG1 in the morning. It makes me feel ready to take on my day. Once I've got baby Olivia set up with her breakfast, which is, she loves bananas these days, I make my own AG1. I don't feel the need for caffeine in the morning anymore, and I feel energized throughout the day. Plus, AG1 empowers the gut for whole body health. Covering my nutritional bases couldn't be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I mix 1 small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it first thing in the morning. Done just like that. Or apple juice if I'm feeling frisky. Apple juice helps it as well. I like the taste there. It also costs less than $3 a day. Pretty good if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients. It's a win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. That's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Check it out. The link's in the comments and the description of today's show. Help your gut health out, help support immunity, and boost some energy with Athletic Greens. athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Cansey pick didn't make sense to me. Paris Johnson pick absolutely does, however. Titans need offensive line help. Johnson might be the first one off the board. Lucas Van Ness wasn't a starter at Iowa, but I actually like him as a prospect. I'm not sure I like him top 15 as a prospect, but round 1 I'm fine with. He can play some inside, outside. It's a little early, but it's not that bad. Jackson Smith-Njigba is pick number 13 here. And look, you can argue receiver can go top 15. That's fine. Why does this make sense for the Jets? They have Garrett Wilson. They have Elijah Moore, who finally got to play, and they have a lone quarterback, which is a big reason why. They have Braxton Berrios. They have Denzel Mims. They have Corey Davis. They don't need another receiver. That doesn't make any sense to spend another top 50 pick on a receiver or a big contract. I just don't get the fit at all. Devin Witherspoon is cornerback number 1 here. He's been in our mock drafts for a while. I would not be surprised if there's like 5 different cornerback ones, depending on who you talk to. I like Witherspoon a lot. He's a little tiny. He's not the biggest guy. There are some concerns about the speed from that standpoint. And by the way, to be clear on Devin Witherspoon, just so I'm not confusing people, when I say tiny, I'm not talking about like the size. He's about 180, which is pretty slender for a corner. That's what I mean when I talk about size. Michael Mayer to the Packers here. Hey, I like him a lot. Fills a need. Cool. Good job, Mel. Broderick Jones, also another strong pick here at number 16 to the Commanders. They need O-line help in a big way. How can you not, if the cornerback class falls the right way, you got to put Joey Porter Jr. with his dad's old team. That just makes sense. That's just perfect. Christian Gonzalez, again, Porter Jr., Witherspoon, Gonzalez, maybe some Ringos out there. They're going to be viewed as cornerback 1 for a lot of different teams. I mean, if you get Wilson and Gonzalez for Detroit, that's a pretty damn good haul. Who is your favorite NFL draft prospect this year? Is it a quarterback? Is it a guy from your school? Drop the player name for me in the comment section. All right, this is where the run got weird. Keon White, who I'll make note that Mel Kiper labeled a defensive end. He's talking about putting him as a 3-4 edge, or 3-4 defensive end, and Keon White 6'4", 283, so I guess that's fine. I don't think he's a first-round prospect. I don't have to listen to me, by the way. I'll mention some others who have done their draft stuff. Dane Brewer, I think, is the best guy in the business. Top 10 edge. Number 10 edge. Not 19 overall. PFF 54 on their big board. Mel likes him, and he had a nice year for Georgia Tech. I think he's more of a top 50 guy than a top 20 guy. No pick made less sense to me than this one. Byron Young, the edge from Tennessee. And the argument is that the Seattle Seahawks love toolsy prospects. Now, Byron Young had 7 sacks this year. He is not ranked by Dane Brugler right now. He's 91 on PFF's big board. He's 25 on draft night. I genuinely do not understand this. He's a top 100 guy for me, not a top 20 player. I really don't understand this at all. Like this, honestly, I am unconvinced that Mel meant the other Byron Young. There are 2 Byron Youngs in this class, the edge from Alabama and the defensive tackle from Alabama, who I think is better. This, I don't want to be too mean to Mel. He's the godfather, etc. This does not make any sense to me. I do not understand how we're putting Byron Young number 20. It blows my mind. Number 21, as we continue the weird pick stretch here. Tuli Tuipulotu out of USC, who I actually do think played pretty well and is a decent fit in their 3-4 scheme as a 3-4 defensive end. But again, I think we're talking more of a top 50, top 45 player than a top 21. PFF had him at 61. Dane had him at 14 in his edge rusher rankings. I have a tough time. That 3-person stretch was like, maybe I'll be wrong come draft night. Mel talks a lot of good inside people in the NFL. Maybe I'll be wrong, but that's not what I've seen early on. Now we're back on track. Quentin Johnston out of TCU, the Ravens wide receiver, to the Ravens as a wide receiver. I like that one. Makes a lot of sense for me. I actually don't mind Emmanuel Forbes coming in here at number 23. I think I'd rather gamble on Keely Ringo's upside, but Forbes has a lot of good traits to be a late round 1, early round 2 prospect. Frankly, so does Deonte Banks, number 24 pick here out of Maryland. I think also kind of fits that upside cornerback mold. As late round 1 guy, would I probably take Cam Smith maybe? But I think both those players fit the range. Love this pick. 25, Jordan Addison. Let's ride. I think he's better than JSN. I crave the speed. It's a great pick by the Giants. Always tough to find a Bijan Robinson fit. Well, there you go. Number 26 to the Cowboys. I have no complaints at all about that one. Positional value, I know, but it's late round 1. He's going to go in the first round. It's a decent fit there. Number 27 is Derek Hall out of Auburn. Again, I don't think edge is maybe it's not their biggest need, but Gregory Rousseau, Boogie Basham have been kind of quiet. I think it's early for Derek Hall. We're talking about a guy who was 67th on PFF's board. Dane's got him at 13th. So again, I don't want to give you just my opinion. I think there's some good people out there. Like, I don't know. Where's Nolan Smith? Where's B.J. Ojolari? Just my opinion. Dalton Kincaid, tight end. I'm a big Darnell Washington guy, but I get the Kincaid love too. I think we're in the very late round 1 stage where it's probably going to be a second round grade, so I'm not too mad about that one. Isaiah Foskey is going to be a very, I'll say, slightly divisive prospect. Great production at Notre Dame, but I think there's some concern about the traits. Keep an eye on the combine for him. The Eagles got a better player at 30 than they did it at 10. It's Brian Branch, who I love. Positional value will drive him down. I think he's going to be a star in the NFL. I think he's going to be a top 15 player for me pretty easily. And then Zay Flowers, number 31. I think Zay Flowers and some of the other receivers kind of fit that. If you want late round one, sure. Brings you some speed. I know Mel loves him, and he's not alone there. I might prefer Jalen Hyatt, but that late round one, early round two range can get a little weird. I'm fine with it. That one's not that bad at all. So grade the Mel Kiper mock draft. It got wild, man. A, B, C, D, or F. Get those votes in for me in the comments section right now. Before we go, some players I want to mention that Mel did not include, and we're going 10, which is more than I normally do because he had some weird picks in there. Josh Downs, Jalen Hyatt all kind of fit the same mold. Osiris Torrance, I like him a lot. Was kind of protected in that Florida passing game, but he never allowed a sack and is an elite run blocker. I like him a lot. Nolan Smith's got some injury stuff, B.J. Ojolari, but they're better than Byron Young and the USC kid and Keon White. I just think they're better players. Bit surprised Brian Brazil in there. Now, I'll make note that Daniel Jeremiah had Brazil like 30. I think the hype for him has always been overblown. The upside still first-round player, but I do think he's way more traits than provenness, and that kind of scares me. Drew Sanders, there were no linebackers, so that's fine, but I like Sanders over Trenton Simpson. 2 corners, I'll make note of Cam Smith, Keely Ringo. A lot of sudden dropping of Ringo. The traits are there, but the production has always been a little bit up and down from that standpoint. If you have any NFL draft thoughts, please feel free to hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. My DMs are always open.